Hello, I'd just like to read you something from the back of a magazine I get called The Week, which sort of gathers all the week's news and thoughts into one handy magazine and dumps it through my postbox every Friday. This article is entitled Inside Britain's Sharia Courts. In a shabby converted sweet shop in Leighton, East London, a group of burqa-clad Muslim women sit in a waiting room. They have an appointment with Dr. Suhaib Hassan at his twice-weekly surgery. The women look worried. There is no talking in the airless reception area. The only sound is a fan purring quietly in the corner as temperatures exceed 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside there are no magazines, televisions or other diversions. The beige walls are bare except for a flowchart depicting the process of securing a Muslim divorce, and a picture of Mecca. This is no GP surgery or Citizens Advice Bureau. Within these nondescript walls lies the nerve centre of Sharia law in Britain, the headquarters of the Islamic Sharia Council, which oversees the growing number of Muslim courts in Britain. Sharia has been operating here in parallel to the British legal system since 1982. Work includes issuing fatwas, religious rulings on matters ranging from why Islam considers homosexuality a sin to why two women are equivalent to one male witness in an Islamic court. The Council also rules on individual cases, primarily in matters of Muslim personal or civil law. Divorce, marriage, inheritance and settlement of dowry payments are the most common. There are 12 courts operated by Dr. Hassan's group, based in London, Birmingham, Manchester, Rotherham and Bradford. Scores more imams dispense justice through their own mosques. A recent study by the think tank Civitas claimed that there could be as many as 85 Sharia courts in Britain, although Dr. Hassan says most of these are not formal courts. But it is certainly a growing network. In his courts, support staff interview plaintiffs and compile a case study. Judgments are delivered by senior imams at closed monthly meetings and are sent in writing to the concerned parties. Up to 7,000 cases have been handled so far. The literal meaning of Sharia is source of water in the desert, meaning the source of all spiritual life for Muslims. This is not just a code of law, but a way of life. In Sharia-based societies, such as Saudi Arabia or the old Taliban-ruled Afghanistan, crimes are punished by beheadings, stoning to death and amputations. Women are kept in purdah, hidden from view, and limited to child-rearing and caring for the home. In Britain, Sharia courts are permitted to rule only in civil cases. Until last year, their rulings had no legal force in this country, but now, due to a clause in the Arbitration Act 1996, they are enforceable by county and high courts. Under Muslim law, a man can divorce his wife simply by uttering the word talaq, yet a woman cannot be granted a divorce without the consent of her husband or winning a dissolution of the marriage from the imam. Even if the couple are divorced under British law, they remain married under Islam until divorced under the religious law too. Sitting on a plywood desk, flanked by shelves of books on Islamic law and copies of the Quran, Dr. Hassan hears evidence from an Afghan woman called Amina. She claims her husband is violent towards her and their 5 children, and she wants a divorce. Amina, 35, is backed by the testimony of 2 social workers, one of whom is Muslim, from a women's refuge. "He beats me and the children. He doesn't give us our rights. He doesn't love me or the children, and he is not interested in me and the children," she says, also citing her husband's mental behaviour. The couple had entered an arranged marriage in the city of Kandahar and had come to Britain as refugees from war. Some years later the marriage faltered. Dr. Hassan's sparsely written notes set out the context of the marital misery. He beat her. Then he asked her to massage his shoulders and legs. When she said no, he beat her. One time her nose was broken and an operation was carried out. Another day, because of the beating, there was a miscarriage. Amina's evidence is corroborated by one of her daughters. The teenager said that as well as hitting her mother and siblings, the father forced her into an arranged marriage in Pakistan. She wants her marriage dissolved too. So far, Amina's husband has refused to grant a divorce, accusing her and her daughter of not being mentally fit. Dr. Hassan decides the case, which has been going on since 2008, is sufficiently serious to merit the consideration of the senior judges at Regent's Park Mosque. It becomes clear that Amina's story of violence, abandonment and difficulty in securing an Islamic divorce is not isolated. Several other cases during the meeting detail claims of terrifying abuse, including one where a gun was placed against a woman's head and another husband who tried to strangle his wife and children. If the husband had disputed his wife's word, the court demands her account is corroborated by other witnesses, preferably male. If the wife refused to agree to give the husband access to their children, even in cases of possible child abuse, the divorce is stalled until that issue is resolved. When Amina's case is raised, it is decided that her husband will be given another opportunity to respond. If all efforts to reconcile fail, then the marriage might be dissolved, but it is unclear who will care for the children. Under Islamic law, a child over 7 usually goes to the father unless he agrees otherwise. The following week I accompanied Dr. Hassan into enemy territory. He has been asked to speak by a group of female students in East London about Sharia. The audience is made up of articulate feminists, both Muslim and non-Muslim. He tells them his organisation is mainly concerned with implementing Sharia law in personal Muslim legal cases, and that 90% of the clients are women seeking a divorce. The women nod. Then he explains that Sharia is about preserving the dignity, health and honour of the individuals. The nodding continues. Confident, Dr. Hassan tells them that in every part of the world there can only be one authority. In Britain, the ultimate authority is the Prime Minister. In an army, the Commander-in-Chief. On the bus, it is the bus driver. And in the house, the smallest unit of society, Sharia says authority must be with the man. The women's duties are much harsher. Biologically, she differs, he says. Her duties lie with the cleaning and childcare. The mood turns black as Dr. Hassan continues that, under Islam, the woman is seen as someone who needs the protection of a man. In matters of divorce, the right of ending a marriage lies with the man because women have emotions, whereas a man thinks first before he speaks. At this, one woman berates Dr. Hassan. If you had said these things about a Jew or a black person, it would be totally unacceptable. Yet do you think it's okay to say women are inferior? An hour later, Dr. Hassan emerges from the meeting. The problem with the feminist movement is that they don't listen to the other side, he observes gravely, stroking his beard. Dr. Hassan does not accept that there is a conflict between Sharia and British law. The Council, he insists, does not seek to extend its powers beyond its current range. Muslim personal law can be accommodated within the British legal system, but we cannot ask for Sharia in Britain for criminal cases. For that to take place, the state needs to support Sharia, and I recognise Britain does not. Which is really quite extraordinary because I'm sure he's not Scottish at all. Forgive the accent. But Dr. Hassan is a relative moderate on the subject. Some hardliners want Islamic law to be extended in all criminal cases. One such figure is Safra Sawa, controversial leader of the Basildon Islamic Centre in Essex, who thinks Sharia would help fight rising crime in the UK. When I suggest that many people in Britain would find some of Sharia's provisions extreme and difficult to accept, he agrees. We need to adapt Sharia for British law. We could use some of the more moderate measures. To cover which crimes? Child abuse, underage sex, teenage pregnancy, for example. I ask what the penalty would be for underage sex. You won't like it, but Sharia says if they're caught doing it, you stone the woman. Mr. Sawa's other suggestion is to adapt the 3 strikes policy on crime. Instead of being jailed on the 3rd conviction, a criminal could face having a hand chopped off. That would fit in with the way of life here. I'm not being extreme. This has to be used in moderation for serious crimes, not petty robbery. In this country, people get away with murder. He refuses to accept the notion that values of human rights are enshrined in the British way of life. In Victorian days, they applied Sharia. They held people in stocks. There were public floggings, hangings. Why not go back to it? What's the big beef now? Too many goody two-shoes talking about human rights. I say to you, why can't we mix and match? Take the best from both worlds. The law is like a curry. Different elements improve the flavour. Why not improve the law of this country with elements of Sharia? Back in Leighton, as I prepare to leave, office staff are cheering on Andy Murray at Wimbledon, a scene being played out across the country. Meanwhile, in a back room, Sheikh Hatham al-Haddad, one of the most senior imams in Britain, is once more contemplating the fundamental split between religion and state. There is a conflict between these 2 sets of values, he concedes. Muslims believe our values are best, the non-Islamic British believe theirs are best, but at the end of the day, understand this. Muslims are never going to give up certain principles, even if they are in conflict. That is a fact.